Hey everybody, Ron Harris here, MD Online Editor, and by now you've probably heard that Jim Lorimer, co-founder of the Arnold Classic with Arnold Schwarzenegger, has passed away. He passed away on Thanksgiving Day at the age of 96. I want to share with you guys a little bit about the kind of life this man led. He had an incredibly rich and diverse life, did so many things, so many accomplishments, several completely different types of careers, and I just want to pay a little tribute to this man. Also on this channel, I reposted an interview, links in our Instagram. I did get to do an interview with him 4 years ago, and it was one of my most pleasurable interviews. He was a truly honorable man. But just to give you some background on Mr. Lorimer, he was born October 7th, 1926 in Bristol, Pennsylvania, served in the U.S. Navy in World War II, graduated from Ursinus College, then earned his law degree from Penn State. He became a special agent with the FBI, and there's an interesting story that he had written to J. Edgar Hoover, director of the FBI at the time he was young, when he was only 13, asking how he could become an FBI agent, and Hoover told him to get a degree in either law or accounting, which he did. So he worked several years as special agent for the FBI, then moved to Worthington, Ohio to take a job with Nationwide Insurance, became their vice president of government relations. So he rose to a very high position in the Nationwide Insurance Company. Now we get into the areas that probably are more familiar to us. After he watched the USSR women's gymnastics team defeat the U.S. team in 1959, he founded the Ohio Track Club girls team that competed internationally, became secretary and chairman of the U.S. Olympic Committee for Women's Track and Field. Later, he became the chair of the World Weightlifting Championships in 1967. He was also in politics. I don't know how many people realize this. He was the mayor of Worthington, Ohio for 14 years, and he served as the vice mayor for several decades. It was 52 years in all that he was either the mayor or the vice mayor. He also served on the city council. So anyone in Worthington, Ohio will remember him as a key figure in local politics for sure. So it was 1970 that our part of the story, or what we recognize as Jim Lorimer's contributions to our industry, really began. He promoted the Mr. World Championships along with the AAU weightlifting championships, and he invited the top bodybuilders of the world, and one of them was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold said, "I can't do it because I'm competing that same weekend at, I think it was the NABA University in London, England. So I can't be in Ohio and England at the same time." But Jim, always a strategist, said he looked at the schedules, saw that the show in England was being held on Saturday. His contest was being held on Sunday. So he sent a chartered jet to take Arnold from London to Ohio in 1970 to compete in the Mr. World, where he defeated the current Mr. Olympia, Sergio Oliva. And I think it was several weeks later, he defeated Oliva at the Mr. Olympia. That was Arnold's first Olympia win. And that's where everything really began, because Arnold was so impressed with how well Mr. Lorimer promoted that contest in 1970. He said, "When I retire from bodybuilding, I want to get into contest promotion with you." And that's exactly what they did. So you saw that Arnold retired the first time in 1975 after pumping iron. In 1976, Jim Lorimer and Arnold Schwarzenegger produced their first event together. It was the Mr. Olympia. The 1976 Mr. Olympia happened at the Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Columbus, Ohio. Franco Columbu won that year. They also promoted it once again in 1981, which Franco won again, also in Ohio. And of course, 1989, they began the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic, which later became the Arnold Sports Festival with so many other different sports. But it started off as a handshake deal between the two in 1970. And, up until his passing, they were promoting that show for decades and decades. And anyone who has been to the Arnold over the years knows what a tremendous production it was. So many volunteers, so much staff, just incredibly well organized, well produced. So let's see if you guys have anything to add to this. Some of you might have known some things about Mr. Lorimer that I didn't. That's entirely possible. At least when Jim Lorimer, rest in power. Yeah. Yeah, guys, we're only talking about Mr. Jim Lorimer right now. We're not talking about anything else. So, Yeah, I just want to pay my respects because I didn't know him well. I did get to meet him a few times. I did get to interview him, and that is on our channel right now. I reposted links to it on our Instagram, as well as my personal Instagram, because it was a great interview, and I'm honored to have had the opportunity to interview Mr. Lorimer and talk to him about all his accomplishments in so many different fields, because this was a man of many talents, and he accomplished great things in many different fields. Insurance, FBI, politics, and sports, of course. So rest in peace, Mr. Lorimer. He had a long, rich, full life. He contributed so much to our industry. He will be greatly missed, but his legacy will always live on. Thank you, Mr. Lorimer, for everything you did for us, and rest in peace, sir. Godspeed.